Number 21st of order. Are there any announcements? Okay, seeing none. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none. We have the minutes of the meeting of October 17th, 2023. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Jordan, and is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Janet. And as I understand, all those in favor? Okay, these will be filed. Okay, the treasurer's report, Bob.
Treasurer's report, we started off the month of October with $2,382,000. We had receipts of $384,000, of which $322,000 was from the state, and we had a $1,500 from Saratoga County Youth Bureau. And when you looked at your budget report, you probably saw that most of that 300, well, 100, the amount that went for central library aid, 181, 185 immediately went out. So the rest of it is, added to our balance when we got all done. And we ended up the month at $2,382,134. So we're just about even for the month. Any questions or comments or threats?
Anything of note before we close out the calendar year in terms of expenses or revenue?
We've got,
We're in line where we should be right
we've
now.
got two CDs that are going to mature in December.
Are you rolling those over?
Probably,
What's
probably not both of them. One of them we're probably going to need.
Is it still, what's the interest rate?
It's right around, still at 5%, a little under 5%.
That's good.
Although TD Bank somehow got, and I have a son-in-law that happens to work for TD Bank, so I think I know where they got my name and number and stuff. Called this morning and wants to quote, but it would mean, we'd have to have at least the executive people, board people come together to approve, because we're not approved to do business with TD at this point.
The interest on the CDs, it's unrealized at this point because we've just kept it in this, we haven't moved it over to the accounts, but we're doing really well. Yeah.
Everything is in the 5% range right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
I just
Get it
wanna-
while you can.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing, is that we're short about $20,000 in state aid. And today you're going to do an action. And then I'll send in the paperwork. So we hope that the state releases it this calendar year.
The final 10%.
Okay. Thank you. Those will be on file, right?
Yeah, we have to.
Oh, you want to approve the warrants too? We have two warrants. Any questions about those? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the warrants? Elaine, seconded by Margaret. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Sarah, Director's report.
Okay. Today has got sadness and excitement. Today is the last board meeting in the 2023 calendar year. What a year it's been. If you like meetings, the JA Finance meeting, the Joint Automation Council, is holding a finance meeting scheduled on Wednesday, December 13th at 9:30 a.m. at the Clifton Park Half Moon Public Library. I think it's going to be a hybrid meeting. We're working with the director to set that up and get a link. The purpose of this meeting is to determine the fee structure for member libraries for fiscal year 2025. We give libraries a whole year to plan. This year, some libraries, well, next year, some libraries, 2024, some libraries will see an increase and some libraries will see a decrease. So it has to do with the ratio.
What time is it?
It starts at 9:30. We have there were 3 libraries that had to submit a variance to SALS. I think I shared that with you in the written report. We received all of the paperwork and we're hoping that you as a board will approve them during new business. So much time is being spent on a library in Warren County. The Rockwell Falls Public Library, I want to bring you up to date on what's happening. And I first want to begin my discussion with how I appreciate the SALS staff for putting in the extra hours to try to help find the resolution. Special thanks to Jill and Jack and Colleen and Pamela for all of the work that they've put in on weekends and evenings. It's come down to that. So right now, the board only has 2 board members, and because they need to have 5, they don't have a quorum. And without a quorum, they can't conduct library business. And the library's been closed since September due to all sorts of reasons, but mostly because there's only 1 staff member still working. So there's 1 staff member. They can't hire a library manager because they need a quorum to hire someone. So, what's happened is it came to the Board of Regents' attention, and the Board of Regents is stepping in to appoint 3 trustees. SALS was asked to, if you read the Post-Star, SALS was asked to canvass and get potential candidates for those 3 seats. And what we've done is and it's a big we've come up with an online application form. We've come up with a rubric to evaluate all of the candidates fairly based on a rubric. We've come up with a frequently asked questions, and we've come up with a slideshow with the information in it as well. We want to keep this as impartial as possible. And we have no say in who gets appointed, but based on the rubric and based on the scoring of the rubric, the people with the highest scores, those names will be sent on to the education department. What the education department does, I don't know. I'm not part of that process. And they can either accept the names or not accept the names. And then the names that they accept will go on to the Board of Regents. Now, the reason there's such a tight deadline during a holiday week, when I'm leaving town this afternoon after this meeting, the reason is because the Regents have a meeting in December. They have a meeting in January, and the goal of the Regents and the goal of everyone concerned, even community members and the 2 remaining board members, is that they want to be able to open their doors to the community as soon as possible. So that is why there is a tight time frame. So tonight, thanks to Jack and some others, I will present a 15-minute presentation explaining the process. There's a slideshow that will be up and everybody can view it. We want to make sure that it's impartial. So 2 other SALS staff members are the only people that have access to an account where the applications will be submitted. All of the names on the applications will be redacted. So we won't know the names of the people or where they live, except we'll know what town they live in the Hadley Luzerne Central School District. And I think there are five, Stony Creek, Day, Luzerne, and Hadley, so maybe there's 4.
There's 4.
So we want to make sure, well, I'll get to that. How we came up with the job description, how did we come up with the questions? It all comes from the trustee handbook. We did not make them up. It comes from here, it comes from the New York State Education Department. It comes from documents from the Board of Regents. It also comes from state law and commissioners' regulations, okay? So we're really keeping it impartial as we can. To say that I have spent over 12 hours on this project over the weekend is a low estimate. The wonderful SALS staff dropped everything they were doing in order to make the deadline to get the application open tonight. It's been viewed by many people. Colleen was the last, and Colleen had nothing to do with it. It's impartial. It's asking questions we would ask and libraries should ask of potential people wanting to sit on a library board. And it was the Division of Library Development that set the deadline to get the qualified names to them on or before the 7th and 8th of December. They gave us a very, very, very tight turnaround, and we wanted to make it as seamless, and we are encouraging everyone in that area who cares about libraries, who lives in the district, who is 18 years of age or older to apply. The only people that will be disqualified from the pool are people that don't live in the district and are too young. I want to make that clear because I'm expecting that there was a story today in the Times, in the Post-Star. There was a story yesterday on WTEN, and there is a live meeting tonight. The live meeting tonight is going to be a hybrid meeting, and with the thanks of the 2 trustees on the board, they gave us the first 15 minutes of this meeting to explain the process. And Jack, bless you, will keep the meeting as a hybrid meeting to whatever time, and then we'll make that recording available. The recording will be on the Hadley Luzerne, well, it's the Rockwell Falls Public Library website. Are we putting it on the SALS website too? And the information that we're sharing tonight, the application and the frequently asked questions that we have up until now have been shared with the 2 trustees before the meeting. We should probably share the slideshow as well. You shared it too?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything that we are going to be doing has been shared with their board. So that's the story. I'm leaving town. I'm leaving my computer home. I'm turning off my cell phone. My plans had been made a long time ago, and
Can I just add something? Like any other issue that comes before a board, I'm talking about our board now. It's important that, you listen if anybody has a comment, but that you don't respond. And really, the only fitting response is that SAL's role is to assist, as it does with all of its member libraries, and leave it at that. There's another misconception out there, you might have seen that we're driving the whole process. We're not. The regents are driving the whole process. It's their legal bailiwick. We're just assisting. So just, just be careful what you say and get back to, get back to the staff here if you have some comments, unless they're just simply comments. If there's anything that's disturbing, get back to one of the staff here.
The other thing I want to say is that in the effort to be as fair as possible, we are asking people to submit their questions in writing. And every single question that we are asked, we're going to add to that frequently asked question.
Right.
Because we just want to make sure that everybody understands that we're taking this very seriously. And there are some things we can answer, and there's some things we can't answer. So, it's all gonna be on the SALS website if you want to check in and do it. And, I want to thank Pamela. She's the one that created the form, the application form, and it looks lovely. Am I right? I want to share that we had a visitor to the building. Somebody came to our front door and requested using the bathroom and then wanted a taxi to the hospital. So that left us with a little concern that this person wasn't well and we didn't want to. So we let the person use our bathroom, even though this is a locked building. And I want to say that Pamela and Bill Rozier handled the situation with grace and kindness and respect. And then Pamela asked, did they want her to call 911? And he requested it. And the police knew the individual and said, if this individual comes to the door again, to please call the police immediately. So that was a different way to start the week.
Right.
Or maybe that was how it ended last week, but that happened. On a more upbeat, I'm continuing to visit library boards, and I want to say that our libraries are doing outstanding work for their communities. I am so impressed and amazed at the dedication they have for their libraries and for their communities. And when you're in a position for a number of years, you see changes. So long-term trustees are seeing changes in leadership. They're passing the reins to newer board members. And if you haven't been to the Bancroft Library in Salem, please visit it. The building is finally accessible. And this was done by, it's a great working board. They have great discussions, and it's just, this was a vision of one of the president of the board, and it is so rewarding to see that his vision has come through. So that's great.
I love that library. It's just,
Have you been back to where
it's so tiny, but it's got everything.
and then the bathrooms are
Right.
now 100% accessible. They have everything but a working stove, because that would have meant changing the code. But their backyard, they now have a courtyard, I guess it is, with a picnic table, and there's even a handicapped accessible picnic table. It's just, and I don't know how they did it, but they got volunteers to put in the sod, and they had volunteers to build the fences, and it's just an amazing example of a library pulling together to provide services for the community. It was wonderful. The other thing I wanted to say is that Mary Jane Lasher, who is the board president at the Town of Inlet Library, which is 2 hours from door to door, you Hamilton County people can appreciate it. The library is beautiful now, and it's hard to believe that when I started working here, it had been just recently converted from an ambulance bay. And it's a wonderful, warm and inviting place. And then I was invited to attend the Memory Project reception at the Mechanicville Public Library. And in attendance were Assembly Member Warner and representatives from Congress Member Tonko and Senator Tedesco's offices. It was a really nice showing, and Pamela, who's doing most of the work on all of this project, was there also, and thank you, Pamela. I got a smile, yay. New and improved trustee handbook. You can keep your old one if you've got notes scribbled in it. This is the one to use. What's different in this new, improved and heavier handbook is that there's an well, I can't say the word. There's some discussion about equity, diversity and inclusion, as well as sustainability. Throughout, it's integrated. That's the word I wanted to use. There's been upgrades to the planning and valuation part and board development chapters, including information about the new trustee education requirements. That's the 2 hours. It has an introduction to board committees. And now they have intersections with programming and display policies in the intellectual freedom, censorship, and privacy chapter. And let's see, they have a clarification regarding reserve fund and fundraising issues. Let's see, there's an updated explanation of the current state of the New York State open meetings law. There's a new appendix on hiring a new director and sustainability is a core value and pilot payments. Libraries can get money through pilot payments. There's upgrades to the sample bylaws and civil service 101 appendices. And it's got an updated policies checklist and glossary. That's everything you ever wanted to know about this book.
I liked it so much that I have 2 copies. We got ours at, we had our board meeting last night, so I now have 2 copies. One thing
send
I
them
might
back.
suggest you might do before you take off, or maybe Pamela can do it, is that
It's been
list that
sent
you're
already.
reading from.
It's already been
Alex,
sent out.
Oh, okay,
Everybody's
you got
got
it? Yeah, okay. And I just inserted it right into the book and it shows you where the major
Oh,
changes
that's a
are.
good idea.
Yeah.
But that was sent out. Last week, we had some discussion about a FOIL officer, and I spoke to an attorney, and she said she doesn't think SALS is foilable. So before we pass a policy, I'm going to find out if SALS is actually foilable.
Why would she think it isn't?
Because she's a lawyer and she keeps up on these things. I don't,
Wondered what would make it special.
in the Committee on Open Government, there was an opinion that was written, and she said that's an opinion. It's not the law.
Oh.
So she's gonna go into that a little bit further. But I figured,
And what are the implications for individual libraries?
I think they are foilable. We're talking about a public library system. But public libraries are foilable, especially a school district public library. And this morning, when I was up at 4 a.m. and I gotta do a little point of privilege here. So I reached over to pick up my brand new phone and it was a black screen. And I thought, oh no, I forgot to charge it. I said, no, it's charged. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm all like, oh no, my airline reservations are here, my hotel reservation. So I went downstairs and I Googled what do you do when your phone is? So at 4:15, I learned how to fix that, should it happen again. And then I'm wide awake in front of my computer and I looked at the draft 2024, they called the tentative Saratoga County budget. And guess what? We're in it. Yay! So anybody who has contacts with your county legislature, thank them for remembering us and we appreciate it. Do you have any questions of me?
I'm actually just curious to know for the Rockwell Falls, how much of a community has, how much has the community spoken about this? Is there much or?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I know that there's one comment, whenever the Post-Star posts things,
Mhm.
I've learned not to read the comments, but I read the comments and, it's usually the same voices that are commenting over and over again. So I really don't have a real feeling of it.
I'm just curious. Yeah, I was just curious.
It's a population, what's the population? Over 5,000? And I don't, I mean, there
Sure.
are children there too,
Yeah.
but I don't know what percentage of the people are.
Concerned.
I have a question about the county aid. So that county aid money is the primary source for our ebook collection?
It's a source.
A source, okay.
What happened a number of years ago is that the county passed a resolution that they won't fund any organizations that gets public funding. So the libraries couldn't apply individually. So if they're a taxing district, if the libraries are a taxing district, Saratoga County wouldn't allow them to get one of these grants. So the directors met and said, well, we can all agree on there's never enough downloadable content. I'm sorry, my back is to you.
Okay.
And that's why we write this to get about $35,000 that goes into it. Jill, how much money is in the big,
The overall cost, I believe we funded this past year at about 75.
so maybe it's a third? No, a little more than a third. Right, 33. Anyway, so that's the end of my report. Any other questions?
Any questions for Sarah? Okay, thank you, Sarah. Let's go on to committee reports. We'll go down the list. Janet, audit and finance. Okay, none. Building, Christine?
Nothing that I know
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to say this and I told Pamela that I would, that we've tabled the parking lot until the spring. I'm sorry.
of. Oh, yeah, well, I noticed that in the notes earlier, and I thought that was commented on last month when I wasn't here.
Well, just to let people know, that was supposed to
We
be new
mentioned it
business.
in passing, but
So,
it's,
and actually, one of the things that so last week I stopped at the Honest Weight Food Co-op. And their parking lot, the asphalt is really crude. And I don't think it's I remember one of the discussions was about the different types of asphalt that the different contractors were suggesting. Well, we don't want whatever they got it on. I went into I mean, because your shopping cart is like this.
Huge and large.
Yeah, and so I went in and asked them, I says, do you have any documentation anywhere about what?
What number is this?
Oh, here's somebody's business card to contact, so.
That's a great story. I love
We're
it.
trying.
okay, moving along with the committee reports, Jordan, bylaws.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Margaret, Central Aid
No.
and Services.
No report.
Okay. And each of you, county aid coordinators, and anything in addition to what Sarah reported as far as, Saratoga County?
No.
Okay,
I think next time I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll look at the Hamilton County and Warren County budgets.
okay, and, Carol wasn't with us today, so, library services, no report. Janet, personnel. Okay, and Jordan, trustee nominated.
Yes, but I see him it's listed also under E in new business, so maybe I should
Hold the
save it all for
discussion
then.
to it. Okay,
rather than-
very good. All right, is there any unfinished business? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to new business. The first item A is the letter of engagement from UHY. Who wants to speak to this?
UHY, yeah, passed it around. It's a typical engagement letter that we do every year where they outline the scope of the audit, which nothing's changed. The only thing that changed a little bit is the price, which is $9,000. We paid $9,100 last year, but there's a 2.5 expense ratio that they add, and so that'll make it about $100 more than last year. We had some unusual things last year where we were making changes too, so it could be buried, the increase could be buried in there a little bit, but then Eric, who presented, is going to be the partner in charge. And we don't know who the field people will be because the person that, was the field person, retired or took a leave of absence or a temporary retirement until her children grow up. So we'll have some possible new faces in the building. And so we're gonna be asking for approval for Russ and I to sign the engagement letter. Since we don't meet next month, we need to do it at this meeting because they will start the audit in January before tax season gets going.
Colleen, is there anything that you want to add? You were pleased with our relationship with them? They seem to give a very professional presentation.
Yeah, I looked on their website, and there is a person who's named to the Saratoga office. So that may be our person, and I don't know, Serena, who managed it, had an assistant. I don't know if it's gonna be the same secondary assistant, I really don't know who they're
But
gonna.
the same partner leading the effort as we had this time.
No, she's the one that retired.
Oh,
She wasn't a
Yeah.
partner, but she was the CPA in charge.
Ah.
Eric's gonna be the CPA in charge.
okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they've always, everyone I've worked with there has been great.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Could I have a motion to authorize us to sign the commitment letter for next year? Jordan, is there a second? Elaine? Okay, any further discussion, questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, the next item is anti-harassment, our sexual harassment policy and complaint form for consideration of possible approval. Who would like to speak to this?
Colleen does.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, Jack attended a meeting in which the new template that New York State put out as to how your anti-harassment policy should be structured. So that is literally New York State's template with our name in it. That way we're meeting all the requirements. And so it is the template that they're providing. And the complaint form is largely the same. I changed some wording to match their complaint form. There was a part on it where it mentioned, if the person making the complaint has sought legal counsel, our form said, write it here. Their form said, this is not required, but would you like to share it? So I modeled it after theirs. Is there anything else, Jack, that you came away from that meeting?
No, just that that's their new supplement that, the person that was presenting Stephanie, Cole Adams, and she had mentioned that, this was the update, and she recommended all libraries use this template.
Certainly is comprehensive.
Yeah.
At 10 pages.
Any other questions or comments?
I assume we still have to do the wonderful annual CE with their crazy little skits that they have.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine is longer.
Yours is longer.
Mine is longer, so it could be worse.
Yeah, yeah, if you're the one that's being, let's review it, report it, sure. Okay, could I have a motion to, adopt the, amended, policy and complaint form? Sue and Laura. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Handbook for library trustees. We talked about that. Okay, it was distributed. Okay, the next one, Sarah, would you just comment on your request for the conference in Lake Placid?
When I was at NILA and I got to sit with a lot of you, and it was fun, it was good seeing trustees attending the NILA conference. I was approached by someone saying, would you be willing to submit a program to the school? Something libraries, it has to do with school libraries. And on the cooperation between book challenges between public libraries and school libraries. How can we have partnerships? Because we're serving the same population, but different age groups. And I said, sure, but I wanted to get permission to go to Lake Placid before I filled out the form.
I'll approve that.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, Margaret made the motion and Janet seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Now, it doesn't mean that my program is gonna be accepted, but I didn't want to do the work. Thank you.
Okay, now Jordan, Hamilton and Saratoga County nominations for the annual
And I
meeting.
believe you and I, representing Hamilton and Saratoga counties, the term runs out in May or June, is it?
At the annual meeting.
At the annual meeting, and so we will need nominations for new trustees from both counties. Hamilton County, of course, is where I'm from, so I can start searching all 7 people who live in the county. And you know, but Saratoga County, you know, people have some ideas, some names that would be very helpful. Or even if you know somebody in Hamilton, that might be interested. I have a couple that I might contact.
Jordan, I met a woman from Saratoga County at the opening of the Stillwater Library the other day. She seemed very positive. Her name is Diana Miller. I can get contact information.
Yeah,
But I have none.
yeah, you know, if you would, that'd be
Yeah.
great, and you can email it to me, or,
Okay,
yeah, I can, you know, maybe contact her and ask if she's, you know, tell her what's
Right.
Christine and
required.
Janet, if you have any suggestions, please. let
Yeah,
me know,
yeah.
too.
Also, Elaine, you have to be nominated to serve until 2028.
we did it
Oh,
last month.
No, we voted you to, I made a mistake.
Yeah,
We
okay.
didn't add you, so you have to stand for the election, so.
I'm nervous.
and I assume that will take place at the annual as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's the news.
So you're good
from-
until May.
Yeah, then I get nervous.
You may be bounced along with me and Jordan. so.
Yeah,
I've been bounced before.
I know.
Not here, mind you.
Yeah. Another
Yeah,
context, yeah. Okay, thank you, Jordan. Yeah,
Sure.
just please let us know if you have any
Absolutely.
leads, and we'll try to do some scouting on our own as well. Okay. Now we have a set of minimum standard variance request forms. Who wants to speak on that?
I guess I can.
Okay, Sarah, thank you.
So in order for libraries to get their state aid, they have to meet minimum standards. And every year we have the same 3 libraries that are not meeting minimum standards. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Stillwater Public Library. They reported that their library was too small and didn't meet the space, seating.
Shelving.
handicap accessibility
Um,
in the old days.
I don't have the form in front of me, but, and every year Sarah writes, we're building a new building. And we need to hear your experience about this building. So this will be the last year Stillwater will need to send in a variance saying that we're working to make a building that is suitable for the community, that will meet the lighting, shelving, seating, space requirements. So that's the first one we're gonna ask you to sign. The second one we're gonna ask you to sign is Fort Edward. Vicky Plude is a wonderful director. She does such amazing, amazing work. But because of the size of the community, she needs an AA degree. And for the last few years, she has been taking either 1 or 2 courses a year at Adirondack Community College. And that variance is saying that, yes, she is working towards attaining the necessary degree.
She's still continuing to do that?
She's still continuing to do
Okay.
it. And then the final one is the Hudson Falls. And every year, one of the minimum standards is to have a long-range plan of service, a community-based plan of service. And for various reasons, they haven't gotten it started yet. And what they're asking for is they've given an outline of how they're going to attain the plan of service, community-based plan of service. And what we're saying, you as the board will say, yeah, we expect you to get it. So what you're doing is saying, we see it. They've given us a valid reason or a valid thing to rectify it. So as they head towards, so by you approving each of these, I get to send in a piece of paper, and then hopefully we get our last, between 19,000 and 20,000, last 10% of our state aid.
Yeah, that's important. The balance is contingent upon us completing this process one way or another. All right,
So,
why don't we take these separately? Stillwater, we have a motion to approve their variance. Elaine, is there a second? Christine, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Fort Edward. Jordan, is there a second? Margaret, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, Hudson Falls. Sue, is there a second? Margaret, any discussion on that one? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
okay, and just two things. One, Stillwater sent in 2 variances for 8A and 8C. So you passed both of those in one. And Russ, please don't leave until you sign it.
Pardon?
Please don't leave the building until you sign the form.
Oh, yes, no problem. I'm gonna be here for a minute anyhow, so.
Thank you.
There's no, without objection to there being 2 for Stillwater, any objection? Okay. The motion, I would say as amended then, for 2 variances for Stillwater. Okay, is there a director's council report today? No? Are there any other announcements?
Do you want to hear about the Stillwater Library? So growing up, Laura and I both grew up in Stillwater, so, you know, we have memories of the old church as the library, very small. And, you know, they've been working very hard. And what they did was they took one of the old tissue mills right on Main Street, right in the center of town, and they converted that into the library. I have some
That
pictures.
just steps away from the old one.
Yeah, they had school kids, you know, moving books from one to the other.
Right,
They just
right.
did a lovely job. There's so much attention to detail. There's one of the fireplaces is original, the lighting, the views of
It's
the
right on
river.
the
river.
river.
Oh, yeah, you know, I don't know. If I
I
can,
go right by it all the time. When
Yeah.
I go up to my daughter's in Greenwich.
You know,
I
it's
live
just-
back way.
there's so many meeting rooms and you know, and the lighting, the displays, I'm sorry. I can send them to anybody that wants them. It's just lovely. I just can't say enough. I want to see the front. Let's see. Cause as you're driving along, it makes a statement. Okay, I'm getting there. That was the teen room.
Did you take a few pictures?
Yeah, I know. I was just so impressed, you know?
Wow.
Oh, I remember what that building looked like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's right on Main Street.
Yeah, you enter in the rear, so you're right by the river.
And right next to it will be where all the Christmas trees are.
Yes.
You know, in memory of, and right next to that is the Black House.
The Black House.
Which is right on the river too.
And across
Yeah.
the street is the other, one besides Lake, the famous Dom's Pizzeria.
Yeah.
Which I think is the best pizza in the Capital District, so.
Oh, that wasn't the front. Did I get to the front or was I still in the back? Oh, yeah, like that. There
Yeah.
we go.
Wow.
I don't know if I got to.
Yeah, it looks like an old factory,
Yeah.
but nicely
Yeah.
reconditioned.
Right, right. You know, there's all kinds of meeting rooms. There's a room specifically for genealogy. The children, they've got young adults, they've got tweens, so spaces for everybody. And a lot of, just a little attention to detail. It was lovely. And I was even impressed that the library worker had an apron. Whoops, I just went the wrong way. It said, you know, who he was, you know, I work here, I'm the Stillwater Library. I just thought that was cute, so. But, you know, if you're in the area, I suggest you go visit it because it's well worth the side trip.
Yeah, I'd like to know when we're finally gonna get SALS t-shirts to go on, to go along with our library t-shirts, yeah, from our home libraries.
Can I ask the board to pass one more thing? Cause I just got an email.
Sure, something you'd like to add to the agenda, yes.
If you don't mind, people, so you're not meeting next month.
Right,
I've been invited to be part of the ALA Congressional Fly-In on March 6th and 7th. And ALA will be paying for it. So may I have permission to go to Washington to
Washington.
meet Congresswoman Stefanik?
as long,
Yeah.
yeah, as long as it's not Barbados, it's our okay.
Oh, boy.
Could I have a motion
Talk
to
to her.
approve that, please, Jordan
Oh.
and
Try
Sue,
to find her.
second,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? And thank you, you're doing great work with ALA, and I've noticed that, NILA is a very prominent part of ALA, so we've got a good connection between the two organizations. I also noticed too that, I forgot, what was it? But I just saw that, I know, it's the sustainability group. Just added the Massachusetts Library Association to ours as well as being in the lead sustainability. And we're in the process of refining the new 3-year plan for Clifton Park Half Moon. It's gonna be a year-long process. We're just gotten into it with our retreat in October. And sustainability is one of the issues that we've added to the plan. And anything you do, from construction to programs to whatever, really needs to fit the sustainability model.
I know everybody's getting ready to go and I'm gonna be on vacation, but people who went to NILA, can you share the highlight of the NILA conference?
Go ahead, Margaret.
I'll start. The Brooklyn Public Library had a program, where they give out free library cards to anybody that wants one, especially young children across the country. People who don't have access to a library, kids who, for whatever reason. Free library cards so that they can get the books they want. And I thought that was like a really great thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the Intellectual Freedom Breakfast, and that was a lot of fun. and
Yeah,
sharing.
that was fabulous. And,
And I did join the Intellectual Freedom Roundtable at NILA, so I'm happy to.
yeah, you were well represented, Christine, Margaret and I, roamed around together and went to many of the different workshops. We're there for on and off for all 3 of the days, and it was a very good conference this year, and I'm always happy when it's in Saratoga, because it makes it really easy for. So in you know, in the future, if you've never been to one, you should try it out, because it's really interesting, and you may meet a lot of great people from some of the other libraries and library associations, so. Also had a rousing, introduction at the breakfast by our own director, who had led us all in a chant of, what, give a.
With my
Free
body.
people, free freely.
Oh, right.
Cheering, laughing, we were all
Wait,
standing.
wait a minute, we have a new sexual harassment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm allowed to do that. So, all right, anyhow, on that note, happy Thanksgiving to
I would
all.
like to add, one of the sessions that I went to that I found really valuable was one that was called, Small Libraries, Big Data, and, Jack is, sending me data
Oh,
so
yeah.
that I can use this, and I think we'll have a better informed budget going into, the Waterford going into next year. Cool.
Well, and there were also, unfortunately, it was on the last day, which often happens, but there was a very good one on, you know, Friends, and our own, Carol Kerr was one of the panelists, and I heard a lot of things saying, she's one of the best presenters that, sorry she's not here today, but she, you know, everybody said she gave an outstanding, there were 3 people presenting, they said
Yeah.
hers was particularly good, so.
I wanted to go to that session, I had car problems, so I couldn't make it.
Well, there were just too many good things going on. I went to part of it because our own,
Message up that she'll be sure to come, tell Cheryl.
Oh, right.
yeah,
Faith is the director of it.
okay, very good. Yeah, she was excellent and,
Oh, this is our last, oh, can I add something?
sure you can.
This is our last meeting, so your mileage
You have to turn in your miles.
should be completed. Whatever's in there is what I'm gonna act upon.
Is the NILA conference
Do
month?
you want
Yeah,
a
okay. I
second
don't
sheet
usually-
or
I usually-
I run out of space, or do you want me just to put it on the
Past
back?
years,
of
I
the
haven't
one sheet?
claimed mileage.
I did.
Yeah, you can put it on the back.
All right,
Okay, I put it on.
because the
I put it on
conference
the
is
front,
included too.
Yeah,
You know, up above.
up above, yeah, you can use the top part and just draw an arrow. However, you might have a question about the figures, I'll email you. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? So I started.
New Year.
Yes,
Happy-
happy
yeah,
everything.
Oh,
Yes.
Happy holidays, happy new year, but most important, I always think family wise and friend wise, that, you know, Thanksgiving is the real holiday after a certain age where you really enjoy it. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving in a couple of days, and, we'll see you in, January.
And I drove by the Schuylerville Library on my way here today, and I love the sign that they had out front, said, come join us to celebrate Taylor Swift's birthday, December 9th. And I thought,
That'll get
that's
the
where
young
they had
people.
Yeah.
people in.
Yeah.
Mom, I wanna go. I wanna go."
Yeah.
Wow,
I love.
that really a good time.
Go by
Kansas
libraries and
City
see what
lost
they-
last
what
night
they're
to the other
doing, yeah.
company.
Right.